we have something nice. Yes! What a cool unboxing this was. Welcome back to another episode of Feldpost Sunday here on the World War II History and Reenacting YouTube channel. Well, do you think there's any Feldpost? Let's see and find out. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Wir haben Feldpost. Nice. 2 letters. I wonder what it could be. But I know there's something else as well. The Reichspost always deliver. This is something big. Cool. So we have 2 letters and 1 big box. Let's start with the big box first. Right? We have styrofoam. It's always a good sign. So, what do you guys think this is? Feel free to leave a comment with your guesses down in the comment section below, and we'll see if you're right in just a second. Plastic filler, more plastic, bubble wrap. Oh, we have something nice. You guys ready? Yes. That's nice. We have a German porcelain plate from the Second World War. This one is quite special. It's manufactured in Norway from Porcelain, a company in Telemark. And this one is for the Soldatenheim in Mo I Rana, a small town in the north of Norway. It's pretty dusty. We'll take a close look here in a second. Now, you think there's something else in here as well? Oh yes. Oh yes. You guys ready? Let's see. Yes. Cool. This is a cool one. Here we have another porcelain plate. This one is also made in Norway by the manufacturer Porcelain, same as the first one. And this one has a blue colored German eagle and the letters OT. Organisation Tot. Very cool. I'll put this aside and we'll look at these later. Let's see. Oh yes, there's more white gold. You guys ready? 3, 2, yeah, not gonna count. Yeah. Here we have another. This is more like a soup bowl. And here as well we have the blue colored German eagle, also made by the Norwegian company Porcelain. Let's put that over here and see if there's anything else. Oh, there's more white gold. You guys ready? Let's see. Yeah, a second Organisation Tot. This time it's a soup bowl, also from the Norwegian company Porcelain. That's pretty cool. Let's put that over to one side. see, is there anything else in here? Nope. Let's get the box away. Alright, let's take a closer look at these two letters. I wonder what this could be. My guess, if you've been a regular viewer on this series, I'm guessing photographs and I'm guessing field kitchen related. But I could be wrong, I could be wrong. What do you think? And definitely some pictures. Let's see. Oh yeah. Ooh. Nice. We have pictures. And it's almost, you can say it's field kitchen related in a way, I guess. So this first photograph shows two German soldiers getting ready for a food run with hot food containers on their backs, perhaps to fellow soldiers on the front lines. Note the leather reinforcement on the carrying handle on this one, while the other carrier lacks this feature. The soldier on the left is wearing an early war 5-button front style field blouse with a field grey collar. The rank chevron on his left sleeve makes him a Gefreiter. Note the belt hooks for supporting his equipment belt. His collar insignia appears to be the early pre-May 1940 variant. The souttage on his side cap is of a lighter color and could very well be white for infantry, but it's nearly impossible to confirm this 100% based on this photograph. A group of soldiers in the background appear to be gathering around another hot food carrier, possibly for some hot chow. Also note the pitched tent. The seller claimed that all the photographs in this envelope were taken in Finland, and based on the terrain, I have no problem supporting that claim. Now the second photo was taken shortly after the first one. Note the two inner metal containers, each belonging to what is called a cooking box. Directly translated, that is. The cooking boxes were used to cook food, which was usually supplied from the field or makeshift kitchens in a partially cooked state, and could continue to cook within the insulated outer box, or the contents could be cooked or reheated using the inner metal containers placed over an open fire with the aid of a pair of metal legs that could fold down to make a stand to elevate it up from the ground. You can see the folded in metal legs right here. Also note the camouflage pattern soldier's tent quarter over here, and the field blouse, possibly belonging to the second soldier who appears to be wearing some sort of turtleneck sweater. Note the Gefreiter rank chevron on the sleeve. He's also wearing his straight leg woolen trousers over his jackboots. The tent quarter is probably part of the entrance to a pitched tent made from a number of these tent quarters that has been further camouflaged with small pine trees. Probably just a few seconds apart. Nice. The collapsible water bag was standard issue with every field kitchen. It was made from tightly woven, heavy-duty watertight duck canvas and could hold 45 liters. The bag also featured a canvas button-up lid, a spout, and a pair of convenient wooden carrying handles. Typically over-engineered, like everything else German, but at the same time, probably the most perfect water bag ever made. This soldier is using a large ladle to extract water from a hole in the ice on this frozen lake. And here is another German soldier posing for the camera moments before or just after the previous photo was taken. Note the jackboots and pre-to-early war work uniform trousers, and what appears to be the later green-colored work blouse. The landscape in the background looks very much like Finland in my opinion, as was claimed by the seller. Taken a few seconds apart, very cool. This next photograph shows 3 soldiers standing around cooking food on an oven wearing HBT work uniforms. The man on the left is an NCO, recognized by the rank braiding around his collar. He's using a typical standard issue military frying pan, while this soldier is adding some unidentified foodstuffs into the pan from the lid of his mess kit. In the background are 2 unidentified structures that appear to have been camouflaged with pine trees. There is some handwriting on the back of the photo, and if I've deciphered this correctly, it says something like this. Once again, we were rich. We had an oven for making bread. Finland from 1941 until 1944, followed by a name. Now this is a wonderful portrait of a German enlisted frontline army soldier. Interestingly, he appears to be an aspiring non-commissioned officer, indicated by the single bar of rank braiding looped onto his shoulder boards. He is wearing an early war field blouse with a field grey collar, and details commonly seen on uniforms manufactured between 1940 and 41. The collar insignia appears to be of the post-May 1940 generic mouse grey pattern, and appear to be at least partially, if not fully machine applied, suggesting that they were perhaps factory applied. The breast eagle also appears to have been machine applied. Note how his right breast pocket is filled with stuff, and the pen in his left breast pocket. Besides from his uniform being a mess, he himself is rather well groomed. Also note his salty early style side cap with soutache, although the color of the soutache, denoting his branch of service, could be anything, as the cap seems to be well used and dirty. Now this photo shows a pair of field cooks frying meatballs over an open fire next to their field kitchen. The initial regular field kitchen models did not allow for frying food, as it was not designed for it, and any attempt using the main cooking kettle as a frying pan without the adequate amount of liquid could destroy it, and it was in fact prohibited to do so. Later production field kitchen examples were often fitted with an additional directly heated cooking kettle for this very purpose. The use of a makeshift cooking setup like practiced in this photo was standard procedure for frying and roasting purposes, especially with the non-upgraded field kitchens, and the rectangular pan being used here is what one will typically see being used. The field kitchen in the background seems to be a regular small Heeresfeldwagen or HF-14 model field kitchen which has been refitted and possibly field converted to accept rubber wheels. And in my opinion, these wheels look like they could be off a Soviet 4.5 cm pack or anti-tank gun, which is a new one for me. And it would be very cool if this was actually the case. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Now this standard issue coffee sieve is positively identified as the one used with the small HF12 and 14 model field kitchens, based on various details. Above, sitting on the field kitchen, is the correct tall Bakelite field kitchen salt container issued with the small field kitchen models previously mentioned. Hanging on the wall behind the field kitchen in the background is a standard issue meat fork. Here, in front of the erect smokestack, sitting on the coffee kettle, is another field kitchen container. This one is made from metal, possibly a later painted, stamped sheet steel production variant. Note the hinged lid, which is in its open position. A large ladle with a wooden handle is laying over the field kitchen. Although this is not the standard issue ladle, it's not unusual to see them being used by field kitchen personnel. There are various other pots, pans, as well as cardboard ration boxes and other details to be found in this busy photograph. Note the soldier with his hand in his pocket, wearing a side cap and dressed in a green HBT work uniform. There is also an NCO kneeling down to the rear of the field kitchen, possibly filling his canteen or a cup with coffee or tea from the coffee kettle spigot, which would be significantly lower to the ground due to the smaller wheels. Also note that these field cooks have built a nice makeshift shelter using an old tarp, possibly off of an old truck. Here is another photograph of the same scene as before, and it gives us a better view of those meatballs, both in the frying pan and in the container. Note the standard issue meat fork being used, and the inner container from one of those cooking boxes we talked about earlier. The field cooks are both wearing aprons. The cook on the left is also wearing a standard issue V-neck knit sweater, while the other is wearing what appears to be an early white work uniform underneath the apron. Note the entrenching tool leaning against this big log. After taking a closer look at this second photo, it's now apparent that the non-commissioned officer kneeling down in the previous photo is actually fueling the fire in the field kitchen with small pieces of firewood. It's very hard to tell in this photo, but this could be the outer insulating box for the cooking box set. Also note the small ladle hanging in the background. And here is one last photo from the same scene. This last photo shows a very interesting field kitchen that I have been unable to properly identify at this time, but to my knowledge, it's not a regular military issued kitchen. In many ways, it does look fairly similar to the small kitchen model from the First World War, but it's not. The main kettle appears to be very, very large, and while similar in many ways, it's very different. It's the same with regards to the coffee kettle. All the details are there, but the placement of that lid is way too far back, as it normally should be in the center. On the other hand, the lid placement corresponds well with the placement on the large HF11 model kitchen, which had two lids on the coffee kettle, placed close to the front and back in this manner. But the rest of the field kitchen does not match the large HF11. The smokestack is of the typical military model, and what I believe to be the second generation smokestack. It appears to have been introduced after the initial cone-shaped smokestack, like those seen on the initial HF11 and 12 field kitchen models. The second generation smokestack, like this one, can be seen with both the later HF11 and 12 and the early HF13 and 14 model field kitchens, before being replaced with the more simplified and later generation smooth cylindrical smokestack featuring only a simple rolled finished edge at the very top. I was hoping this plaque would give me some answers to what this mystery field kitchen might be, but it's unfortunately unreadable. But the fact that this field kitchen appears to have original factory-fitted rubber wheels and fenders and a funky appearance in combination with that small plaque, I believe that this is probably a field kitchen made for the civilian market and has ended up in the hands of the German army. I would like to hear your thoughts and opinion on this mystery field kitchen down in the comments. Sitting on one of the compartments is a short Bakelite salt container, recognized by the speckled finish, overly rounded edges, and the vertical middle seam. The lid was designed to slide off, and this one has the lid removed. The large salt container was only issued with the large model field kitchens. Note the field cook filling the hot food carrier using the standard issue ladle, and this one appears to be made from aluminium. Also note the smaller serving ladle fastened to the inside of the lid on the food carrier. This soldier is enjoying a canteen cup, possibly filled with coffee or tea brewed on the field kitchen. He is wearing a typical pre-war style field blouse with a dark green collar. Note the loop on his shoulder board, which could either be a slip-on unit number or to camouflage any unit number or information on the shoulder boards. It's hard to be certain from this photo. While this soldier is wearing a knit turtleneck sweater, wool uniform trousers, and issued socks, he is waiting for his serving of hot chow in his mess kit. This is perhaps the handle of one of those standard issued kitchen knives, and this appears to be the infamous field kitchen stirring paddle. And if you want to have a closer look at one, take a look at this episode of Feldpost Sunday. And last but not least, note the 2 canvas water bags, similar to the ones we looked at earlier, sitting down on the ground in the foreground. Perhaps this is one of the water bags that we saw earlier. Really happy with those photographs. Let's put these back in this protective envelope. Put them to the side and let's see what's in the next letter. I'm guessing field kitchen related, and I'm guessing pictures. What do you think? Think I'm wrong this time? And we have a postcard with a drawing of a cook, a Luftwaffe cook. The drawing is from 1941, and it's also filled out on the back, dated 1944. On the back there is also a short rhyme. And as the rhyme wouldn't make that much sense in English, here is a rough translation. The cook is fat and healthy and weighs 280 pounds. He cooks plenty of food and he knows very well how good it tastes. We all like him very much, as with him there are no bad times. Cool. Can't wait to get that translated. Okay, first deciphered and then translated. And see what the text holds. Very nice. What a cool unboxing this was. Some really nice items. Beautiful white gold and some pretty cool photographs. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Feldpost Sunday, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more videos. So, I guess that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, auf Wiedersehen. Nice. Nice, nice, nice.